I'd like to call the organizational meeting of the Westonka School Board to order. If everybody would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move into the organizational meeting now, and I would ask Brian and myself to stand and call on Heidi to read the oath of board member office.
Okay, Brian and Gary, please rise. It is an honor that you were selected to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in a position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, please publicly affirm your commitment by repeating this oath. I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and of the state of Minnesota,
and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member
and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member
of Independent School District number 277 to the best of my judgment and ability.
of Independent School District number 277 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Thank you.
Awesome. Chair moves for approval of the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll do the nomination of election of officers. Chair calls for nominations for board chair.
I'll nominate Gary Woolner for board chair.
Second.
Are there any other nominations for board chair? That's it. Do we need to actually vote then? All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Chair calls for nominations of the vice chair, and I would like to nominate Heidi.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Said none. Heidi, congratulations. School board clerk, chair calls for nominations of a clerk, and I'm gonna nominate Lauren. Lauren's not here tonight, but he was interested in doing it, so I would nominate Lauren.
I'll second.
All right, any other nominations? All right, nomination for school board treasurer.
I'll nominate Ralph Harrison.
I second that.
I'll second it.
Any other nominations? Said none. Congratulations, Ralph.
I hate these close ones.
All right. Then we move on here to, well, we're all set. The chair moves for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Chair moves for adjournment of the organizational meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And I call the January regular meeting of the Westonka School Board to order. Chair moves for the approval of the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Announcements. Facilities Committee meeting, January 14th, right here in this room. Teaching and Learning Board meeting, January 23rd, in Conference Room A. Finance Committee meeting, February 5th at 7:30. February 9th, Policy Committee meeting, 5 p.m. before the regular board meeting, and then the regular board meeting at 6 o'clock. And at this time, we'll go to public comments and welcome you to come on up and speak.
Sure. Good evening, Westonka School Board, Superintendent Board, Westonka community. If you may not know me, my name is Nick Peterson. I'm a member of the class of 2010. In these classrooms 15, 16 years ago, they instilled in me a love for country, history. I've taken that. I've been coast to coast. I've been around the world several times. And last year at about this time, I had a moment I thought would just be a memory. I was at the 2025 presidential inauguration, and I had a moment that has now been etched into the permanent archives of the United States. Superintendent Kevin Borg has been informed on the whole story, and when he deems it appropriate, I think it would be a perfect lesson to teach kids on civics and understanding how our government works. So I'll leave this story to Kevin on when we decide to share it, but it's been honestly the most humbling experience of my life.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment about Nick. As he mentioned, I was the principal at Grandview and then superintendent when Nick was going through, and his engagement with the civic process, but also just his interest in talking about his experience as a student and wanting to share how to engage with our government and raise your voice is something that I appreciate that he reached out, and want to thank you for making the effort to come
Absolutely. Here. I wouldn't have thought of any place else to bring it. When you're ready, Kevin, I'll definitely be ready to share it when you deem it appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the community? If not, we'll move on to reports. We'll move on to the student rep report. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Good to see you.
First day back, it's been a good one, so.
All right.
It's been a long one.
Yeah, it's been interesting, we'll just say that. But we're just gonna jump right into sports. So starting off, the dance team has a really big weekend ahead. So we start at the Mankato Showcase this Friday. We usually do the Minnesota Best of the Best Showcase, but they're not hosting high schools this year, so we're going to Mankato instead. And then we're going to compete at the Edina Invitational on Saturday, and then have our conference championship at Litchfield on Monday. So stacked weekend. Alpine Ski has their first 3 races this week: Wednesday at Buck Hill, Thursday at Powder Ridge, and Friday at Wild Mountain. The Nordic ski team went on their training trip to Michigan this past weekend, and what I've heard, it was awesome. They had a great time. Boys basketball lost their most recent game against Burnsville. They're hoping to bounce back against Orono tomorrow at home. Girls basketball is currently 1-7 in their season, and they will play Minneapolis Southwest tomorrow. Girls hockey is currently 7-5-3 this season, and will play at home on Wednesday against Gentry. And boys hockey currently has a 5-1-6 season record, and they will face Dallas Cokato tomorrow at home.
The Westonka boys and girls wrestling competed this past weekend at Rumble on the Red, the largest high school wrestling tournament in the United States, featuring thousands of wrestlers across the country. So very large wrestling event. Some highlights include Deacon Rentham receiving 4th place and a spot on the podium. The boys team placed 36 overall, receiving 30.5 team points in a very competitive setting. The girls wrestling team competed in the stacked brackets against elite competition as well.
And then just moving on to our activities, Girl Up hosted a collaboration event with Finance for Future on the Monday before break, and got to teach over 30 girls at the high school about investing and resources they can use to better their financial knowledge. That was super exciting.
And then Math League is having another outstanding season this year so far. James Marth is currently ranked number 1 out of 95 kids, so he's doing amazing. I'm a little bit behind him, unfortunately, but it's okay. Our team is also ranked 1st in our section and division, ranked 12th in the state, so doing very well. And then we have 2 more meets coming up, which we hope to go well, but they are the difficult meets, so we'll just see how they go. The DECA students will also be competing soon. It's at the Waconia High School on Sunday, January 18th, so we're all preparing for that right now. The speech team has their first tournament next Saturday, so everything's just going on right now. Then NHS students are continuing to get their service hours within the community. The poinsettia sale went very well as we funded many, many scholarships this year, more than ever before. And then moving on to arts, the competitive one act, Yellow Wallpaper, has begun rehearsals and will compete in subsections soon.
Yeah, and then just moving on to some academic things. Valerie Mobagi and Levi Hayes were the junior recipients of this year's MSHSL Excel Award. And Ava Dom and Luke Sutterboard are the senior recipients of the MSHSL AAA Award. And then finally, things are slowly kind of starting to ramp back up as we get into school again after break. Slowly, emphasis on slowly, but yeah. And then, and then just for construction, I mean, things are looking great. We came back and things were like really done, so that was awesome. But yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. But yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the construction report, Gary.
Those guys give it.
That's something to follow there.
It's all good.
Enthusiasm.
Any questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Perfect. All right, I will,
kind of like what we did in the last month. So phase 4 is what they moved into the English rooms on the outside. So we finished all that work up. In the penthouse, replacing some sprinkler. Upcoming work in January, we're installing in the phase 3 admin. The superstructure's going up, all the steel, and starting the MVP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, underground work. And then we'll be starting on the exterior framing as well. And then we did get into the media center. We started demolition of that, so we have a couple pictures of that to show. This is just a progress on the addition that we have going up, the admin addition. So again, working through the bitter cold, but they're making progress, so that's good. They got a good jump on the media center, so this is what the media center looks like. Got the demo started over the last week here. And then what the kids were just talking about, this is the new space that they moved into today. So we had this work done finished up over Christmas break. So yeah, that's kind of it. On the turf work, we're meeting this week and next week. Just finalizing kind of like the site logistics again for all the work that's going on. We're starting to get shop drawings in and the field layout and all that. So we're in the process now of just getting all the material procured and ordered. So looking forward to a spring start here. So yeah. Kind of a quick one, but any questions or any questions?
so I think the main hallway floors downstairs, they look like they've come a long way. Are we ahead of schedule on that?
So the main hallway downstairs from the doors to the gym, are you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we took up the tile.
Yeah.
And so that was something that happened over break. Big thanks to our custodial other teams, because that can be a dusty process. Some people might have noticed a little bit of dust, but they worked hard over after break, but we're glad that we made a jump on that.
Wasn't that the whole thing where the mudding was off and all that, and that's all?
You know,
That looks
so
like
they
that's
were
finished
able,
now.
they're able to pull that up, and it came up better than what was expected, which is good. The English teachers that are on the outer perimeter, they're gonna start classes on Monday is what we think. So we just wanted to make sure, although a lot of it is done, that we're not doing construction while they're in the classrooms. We've kind of learned that you're really excited to get in there, and then all of a sudden you're living in that same space, and it's best just to give them space to finish it up and take this, and they'll use the next days to kind of unpack some boxes, get organized, and that should be then all opened up on Monday. One of the stairwells opened up, and the other one by the end of the month, and that'll give ways for students to go from one level to the other without using their traditional stairwells, which I think a lot of people are gonna really appreciate.
I think that's a picture of one right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, the stairwell is like, if you guys haven't been in there, I went in this weekend.
Just gotta bring a lot of light in.
Oh, yeah,
that's gonna.
It changes the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And the light fixtures we chose are absolutely.
Yeah,
amazing.
those ceiling light
It
fixtures
looks,
are awesome.
turned out really well.
Yeah, we're one of our main efforts, we're obviously right-sizing classroom, and then bringing in natural light into that place and then having a space where kids can break out. And when you look at that, I think the design delivered it really well, but the natural light that you're able to capture, even if you're not at a perimeter classroom, because of those stairwells and some of the glass that's there, is really good. And then thankful for some of the safety features that are in there that allows that still to secure. And so it's gonna be really nice to have one section of the school completed, and now we're gonna start working around this building. But a lot of people worked over the break, worked over the weekends to make sure that this worked out, and appreciate our contractors and the oversight of that, we were able to move ahead. Now it's with this, as he mentioned, the north entrance, getting that complete. Right now, end of April is being targeted as when we hope to have that done, along with the media center. So that's gonna start coming on, and then we'll start taking the next section offline, but just keep on working our way around. But with the number of classrooms in that one wing, it is gonna feel like good progress now, having that solid section completed.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Should we have-
Yes.
Alright, treasurer's report, Ralph, we'll do that,
Do that next
next
well,
time.
actually, I won't be here next time because I'm gonna be out of town, but, so, for the next time, March, I guess.
Okay, alright. Any school board committee reports from anybody? No? Well, we'll move on to the financial report.
Kathy,
Hey, Kathy's gonna, there's,
you wanna bring, so Matt.
Matt, you wanna come on up? Okay.
Kathy, do you mind bringing, or is he gonna speak, or is he showing any slides?
I do just need to.
Good evening, everybody. Matt Hammer from Millers. We took bids on the district's bonds this morning that we talked about last month. As part of our plan, right, we were trying to target this beginning of the calendar year, which is typically a really good time to be in market. And we did that as part of the initial bond sale for the Orford bonds back in '24. We were able to do that again, and actually, with the district's meeting being earlier even in January, we were one of the first things in the market, which I think was advantageous on the bidding results we received today. I think big picture, as we look at the overall plan, we talked about the additional issuance of some of the other components that we were adding on, means we were gonna be in the market, including the refunding portion of the district's 2016 bonds. We were able to capture about $350,000 in debt service savings that we really wouldn't have been able to capture if we didn't do it in this way. It wouldn't have been able to do it on its own. And then I think in big picture, in total, we kind of think of where we're at from what we would have communicated to voters back in '23, even with all of the additional project funds that we're able to capture, we're about $5.2 million of less P&I than what we would have been talking about as part of the election. So that's real money. That's $5.2 million of less interest costs, that principal and interest costs in total, that we would have been communicating as part of the election. When we talk about taxes, we're right in line with where we were assuming, and we do have some of that built-in capacity that we talked about as part of the plan. The bid results that we had this morning, we saw a lot of demand. We had 12 bidders that bid on the bonds. We'd like to see at least 3 typically, right? That's a couple reasons for that. Is there's low demand at the beginning of the year, but also your district is very attractive, right, in the market. And then we were able to create some attraction also with that refunding that allowed us to keep the overall issue across the board, front to end, really with nice, what we call block sizes or large principal maturities that made you really attractive to the markets, which we saw in the compensation the underwriter took, which was like 0.037%. So that means that your bonds were really attractive in the market today. Net premium, overall, we got a larger premium than we assumed as part of pre-sale. We're up about 1.1 or 1.2 million from what we assumed we were going to get. Our purchase price was right around 105%. I know that maybe is going to be a question Ralph would ask, but compared to what we would have seen, it's less than, we knew it was going to be less than the initial issue just based on market conditions, but it was a really good net reoffering premium we were able to capture. We do have, we were able to downsize. You'll see on pre-sale, we were at a little bit north of 71 million. We issued around 71,080,000, I think, today. And we were able to downsize those other issues when we were specifically targeting one, the refunding portion, right, was able to be, we didn't need as much par amount to refund the bonds. And then with those other components where we were targeting those construction fund amounts, we were able to downsize those components as well. So I think big picture, right, everything came in really, I mean, everything we could have hoped for. We really thought we got really good results in the market today. We thought our timing was good. And then I think big picture, as we kind of think of going back and connecting it all the way back to what we were communicating, we're down about $5.2 million in total P&I, and that's something really important, right? As we kind of think about it, we were able to deliver on what we communicated to voters prior to the election. So I can answer any questions folks have, or Kevin, if there's anything I missed.
I would just, one, I appreciate your efforts in working with us. We were able to combine some of those long-term facility maintenance bonds along with the abatement bond with the issuance of our second bond sale, which not running those on their own, obviously there was savings in consolidating that, and then making, as Matthew just mentioned, making that more attractive. And so we're appreciative of finding a way to consolidate all of these and making that work for our community. Also just appreciative of the timing and the guidance of that, of how this worked out. So it's great. It's great news, great result.
Perfect. And I think I missed, Bank of America was the winning bidder at 3.93% on their bid. The true rate after we did our downsizing is more like 3.9. So really good results on. This was just a little bit longer than what we would have had. So the one that we did back in 24 had a 3.57 rate, but it was a little longer term rate than what we did with the initial issuance. So that's kind of where the difference is. So pretty in line with where we were even back in 24.
Exciting news.
Yeah.
Very
Great
much.
news, thanks, Matthew.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Not for a while, right? Thank you.
We'll move on to teaching and learning, Mark.
Yeah, it's good to see everyone again tonight. I have three, Happy New Year. I have three updates for you. There we go. So, just three updates tonight. As you know, we are in the third year of the READ Act, which is a required program across the state of Minnesota. And again, as a reminder, the focus of the READ Act is to ensure every student between kindergarten and grade 12 is reading at grade level. So there's a new aspect of the READ Act that is just being implemented now, and it's a new required dyslexia screening assessment. And this begins this month, and it's something every school system across the state is implementing. And it's truly designed for our students that are identified with the greatest gaps in reading. I applaud that, we applaud that this new assessment is designed to give us even greater detail than we have right now. The assessment, it comes from a company called CAPTI. The assessment is called Read Basic. This is the assessment that the Department of Education has certified that informs us to say this is the assessment across the state that we must implement. Now there is some wisdom in that at the state level they can really track data because we're all using the same assessment. What I'm looking for in this table here would be the different subsets that'll be assessed. It'll be about 30 minutes. And what I'm interested in is truly seeing what is the data. They talk about more details for us. They talk about more analysis for individual students. We'll be administering this now at the end of January, early February, and we'll see. We'll see. But just want you to be aware, this is another dimension of the READ Act, the latest one that has come out. And we'll start this now at the end of January.
And this is an annual assessment?
Annual assessment.
So all kids will have it from 4 through 12?
Correct, correct. Now, one thing that people have asked, like, why are you doing this in the middle of the school year? Wouldn't you want this done at the beginning of the school year? Correct, we would. The Department of Ed just had to take a little bit more time to launch this. So really, right now, the winter months is the earliest that we can actually do this. We will administer this after we do our fast bridge testing in the fall. So think about end of September or so, and then we get going with all our supports and interventions.
Mark, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
The third item down
Yes.
on the previous slide.
Look, there's a little bit of a lag here. There.
On the morphology, ability to identify and use various word parts, 30 items in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
So morphology is gonna be, think of a multi-syllabic word. It's the chunks of a word. So like the word construction, you have construction. And so morphology really breaks down the word into those 3 different components. And can a student look at those letters, how they go together, and then pronounce the sound, and then put those 3 sounds together.
I was thinking prefix and suffix, but that's actually any word and almost like the vowel segment of each word.
Yes. And believe it or not, regardless of the age, sometimes putting those sounds together can be challenging. If you don't understand what the letters together produce as a sound, and then you try to put it with other, other sounds in the word, it can be challenging. So it is measuring that.
So it's 30 word parts to be identified in 5 to 10 minutes, is that correct?
Well, I'm not sure. 30 items.
Okay.
So 30 questions. Probably that. These things, I wish I could say I've been able to see this whole assessment, but it is also, it's very coveted with these things that I will learn as the students are looking.
So we don't really know the mechanics of how that would.
You haven't seen it yet, okay.
I've seen samples, but not seen the test itself.
So is morphology the same like as syllables? I mean.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it. Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to look at it, and how the different syllables.
Am I aging myself by saying that?
No, and then, I think you weren't so.
Still got syllables, Gary.
Yeah, and it's really, again, how those syllables, how you produce the sound, and how you put the multi-syllables together to make the whole word. It's really fascinating things, and we think sometimes at the high school level, they got it all figured out, and we can see middle school, high school students, they're struggling. Not all kids, but some. And again, the intent is, they use the term a dyslexia screener. As a school system, we're not in a position to diagnose dyslexia, but what we can do is identify the gaps, identify what we need to work on, and then truly what happens is that we are gonna get into interventions, supports, and then if we don't see progress over 6 months or more, that becomes a conversation with a family to say, we've done this, we know the gaps, we're not seeing progress. Now might be time to talk to your pediatrician, to think about a medical diagnosis. Not every child ends up with dyslexia when they have a reading gap, but it is designed to really articulate in greater detail what is happening and why is it that the child is struggling with their reading.
I'm just curious, so they start at grade 4, but I mean, kids with dyslexia, this becomes pretty obvious a lot sooner than that. And of course,
Oh, yes.
you know, they're way behind the ball before, I'm just curious why they started grade 4. I would think they would wanna get
So
this.
we do all sorts of screening before we
Yeah.
even
Oh,
get
I
to
know
the
we
first
do.
grade.
I know we
So,
do.
so the way to look at that, between preschool and grade 3, we already have those assessments determined. And think of in the grades, preschool through grade 3, there's an early elementary version of these subsets.
Okay, yeah.
So we have that. We haven't been consistent across the state to have this all the way through high school. That's what's different. And honestly, we already are doing this type of assessment already. Probably where our growth will be more in the high school. And that'll be conversations we'll have with students. You know, think of juniors, think of seniors, sophomores. This will be something new. But again, we're learning together about this, and the state's intention is to build out a consistent assessment that addresses this across the state, that there's value in all of us learning together, looking at the data across the state. We're not all doing our own different thing.
Because I mean, I know that this school system's been very good at addressing this type of thing early, compared to some surrounding
Yes,
schools.
absolutely.
So there is not a lot of consistency among districts on this,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Correct. You know, you only know your piece of the public education piece, but I will say, again, we're very fortunate. Programs we offer, the intervention services, you know, I've talked a lot about MTSS framework here, all those things go together. And then the core literacy programs that we use in our classrooms, it all goes together. But from a state eye, things can look very different depending on what district that you're in.
So this assessment will show progress over time with these students.
This,
And
yes.
then we now have benchmarks, statewide benchmarks to compare that progress to.
The benchmarks I will expect will be coming. Those
Right,
are-
I mean,
right.
over a couple of years.
Yes. But yes, I would want and expect to see progress and improvement. Just as we use our Fast Bridge assessments in the fall and the spring, we want to see growth. So it's just another piece of the READ Act that is rolling out. And they'll probably hear things in the news about this piece now, probably at the end of January, February, just like what's happening across the state. But we're ready to go. We're ready to go with that. Okay, last pieces for tonight. Just want to give you some quick updates with our vocational programming, and it's getting pretty exciting. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. Fall September 2026 is going to be here. This is a photo. This is Mr. Kimball. You know Dale, and it's a picture of the shed, playhouse, whatever you want to call that's being produced in the new Introduction to Construction Trades class that was launched this fall. And he was pretty excited because I don't know what he worked out with Jolene and Kevin to find space inside, but this would be the old automotive room, storage room for facilities. So they didn't have to be outside. It got pretty cold there right after Thanksgiving. But the idea in the construction trades course, excuse me, is to learn those basic skills of framing, sheetrocking, roofing, shingling, all those things. And Dale would say it's been very humbling watching students learn just how to use the power tools and the hand saws, get things square or maybe not square, and just those basic skills. But they're learning so much. And then again, the end product will be 2 sheds that we'll sell at the community. And then we'll be launching Construction Trades 2 next year. So all part of our vocational programming, and kids are loving. They're loving this class. It'll be fun to see now what registration will look like, because now word's getting out about these things.
Are the numbers up in the kids that are?
We're just starting. So we'll see. It'll be very telling now when we go into registration for next year.
Just in general, do you have a sense that the kids signing up have any background in this, or is it brand new stuff? Have they been in
Yeah.
Woods classes before? Or
Yes, some have, but Dale would say the majority are
Brand
coming
new.
brand new.
Okay.
It is fresh. The other piece is just to update you on, a lot of momentum is growing around our medical careers program. And that is really exciting. So right before winter break, we finalized our course descriptions for the nursing assistant program, the EMR, EMT programming. So students will be registering here come at the end of January for these courses. So there'll be a big blitz, big communication going out to families, to students about these programs. You know, we have the HOSA student club, which is the medical version of DECA. So already there's a core group of students that are excited about these things. And then I'm also excited tonight to share with you, we just received a grant. We received a grant to support our EMR, EMT programming to the tune of about $29K. And that's exciting. And you'll notice this is all about supporting us with buying equipment, purchasing materials, curriculum. There's a lot of things that go into producing a quality program. You notice that little plus sign there behind that 28,980. I got a call right before winter break to say, hey Mark, there's additional funds available. We'd love for you to submit a new budget. So once I have formal approval of additional funds, I will let you know.
Additional funds are great.
So yes. So think of this as the bottom, and we're gonna go up from there, from the floor. So that I'm really pleased with that, because as you know, every dollar that we can get from funds from other places, of course, helps us out as a school system.
Is there a meeting coming up in January?
Yep.
Am I
Yep.
jumping ahead? I'm
Yep,
sorry.
I'm gonna get
Okay,
to
all
that.
right.
I'm gonna get to that. So that's coming up there, here. So, January 27th, we're gonna be hosting a medical careers roundtable, Tuesday, January 27th from 5 to 6 p.m. right here. And we are sharing out with everyone in the community that we have contacts with. And we really are looking for community members, parents, anyone that's involved in the medical field. And that's pretty wide, because we want them there to give us, we want to share about our vision, we want to talk about these new programs that are coming in, but in particular, we really want to build partnerships and network with different businesses, organizations in the medical field that they know that we're going to be really creating a population of students that will be getting certifications in nursing assistants, in EMR, EMT, that we want to find those places where we can place them for employment. And of course, for us as a school system, we want to introduce and expose kids to new career pathways. So this will be coming up. All of you are very welcome to attend. You should have an email in your inbox before you leave tonight that if you wanted to attend, there is a link to RSVP. And we did this with construction, we did this with machining. This becomes a basis for like an advisory committee that will want to continue to engage with these different programs. So January 27th, we'll be hosting there.
Good,
So,
good.
yeah.
I know we got some people from,
Yeah.
Methodist Hospital and other
Yes.
people coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Yes, thanks to Gary here, we have a connection with, is it the president of
Yeah.
this hospital?
Yeah.
Or her
I don't know if you
colleague?
guys remember Katie Nelson, her mom, Jen? Jen Meister is the president of Methodist Hospital, and she reached out to her assistant because she has another meeting that night out in Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Is the director that's coming to this
Yeah.
too, so it's nice to have those type of connections, so.
Yeah. It'll be a good
Yeah.
meeting. So that's my report tonight.
All right, thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, so first of all, it's like our student report gave, it's right after break. Hope that staff and students had a nice break, a lot of work at the school. Construction-wise, some planning, programming over break. heading into January, we're busy now preparing a revised budget for you that'll be coming up in February, and we'll take those steps. This is a year that we have different contracts with a number of staff, and we're working on health insurance renewals, so a lot of these mechanics are in full motion as we move forward. We're excited about the strategic priorities that we're continuing to work, and the school board has a retreat in February. It's a fancy word for another meeting to talk about vision and mission, and so we're gonna get on that and start talking about our goals for this next year. And so a lot of our energy are on those topics along with the construction. I again just want to thank our staff, our students at the high school that have worked with this. We're really excited as each section opens up and the opportunities Mark talking about the vocational, but just really the structure of how our classrooms work. It's a wonderful environment, and we couldn't be more pleased with how everyone's participated and cooperated with this going forward. So again, just really thankful. You have three items, action items on your agenda. One is what Matt just referenced, which was the resolution of the sale of the building bonds. You have the budget calendar, which is what we do each year. And then the resolution requiring the tally of write-in votes only if the write-in votes are greater than the ballot of candidate total votes. And that is, someone writes in one and you just have to put in each single name, and it's really just, it's not necessary. And so with that, people of course are still gonna be able to write in votes, and if they get enough write-in votes, of course that name would be carried forward, but it creates a threshold for that. With that, those are your action items today.
Chair moves for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. I did have one thing on the consent agenda, where it says boys golf. I'm actually girls golf. They have my name in there just for a correction, so. All right. So I did actually read it.
Good catch there.
Move on to the action items. Chair moves for approval of action item 8A, resolution for the sale of general obligation school building bonds. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chair moves for approval of action item 8B, approval of the 25-26 budget planning calendar. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chair moves for approval of action item 8C, resolution requiring the tally of write-in votes, only if write-in votes are greater than the ballot candidate's total votes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other further business? All right, gang, we're off to another fast start this year. Got a lot ahead of us, so glad everybody had a good holiday season. And with that, I move for adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Thank you, Gary.